for glory,
but e-buggy pays the bills. Welcome to the No Name RC podcast. Get ready for some serious bench racing. But be warned, we speak our minds, express our thoughts, and sometimes things can get a little rowdy.
Hate, and he just was influenced by the hate coming from the left, the hate coming from the right.
And let's get back to more club racing and less of this money-grabbing book racing.
It's hard not to be arrogant when you're always right.
Yeah. See what I mean? That's exactly why people call you arrogant, Max.
You may not agree with everything we say, but it's definitely worth a listen.
And our pick, can you stop whatever you're doing?
Join your host, Lefty the Great, with co-hosts and guests as they get together to chat RC.
Hey, after that race that I watched this morning, I have to talk about
it. Here we go. $100 right here, $100 throw. Oh no!
I like this.
Yes, indeed. Nitro's the glory, but e-buggy pays the bills. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode number 212 of the No Name RC podcast. I'm your host, Keenan White, aka Lefty the Great. And joining me this week is my on-road co-host, Hefty Jesus, who's on to talk a little bit of on-road nationals and stuff like that. What's been going on with him? I know everybody's been waiting for my RCGP and Masters of Dirt recap, but tomorrow, or when I'm actually recording this, the next day, I'll be recording with Brent and Lucas to talk Masters of Dirt. And then when JQ gets back from the Swedish Nationals later on this weekend, we'll do a little RCGP live. I think we're going to do a live next week. And of course, we'll also have a full podcast next week with questions for Max. But with that said, I just want to say thank you to all of the NNRC Squad around the world. Without you guys, I couldn't do this. Thank you for everything that you do, supporting me. Supporting the podcast. It means a lot. I met a lot of new people this past weekend at Masters of Dirt. It was great to see a lot of people I didn't even know that listened to the podcast. So that was awesome to see. Shout out to all those people I met at Masters of Dirt and RCGP. Don't worry, we're going to talk about all of that here tomorrow and on another podcast. But with all that said, I just had a great time. I'm just back home. I got home yesterday. I'm in the booth again. I couldn't wait to get home. I'm anxious to talk about everything. I just can't wait. Also, big shout out to the patrons of the podcast. I have a whole lot of silly season news going on. I'm about to drop a silly season live or patron only podcast for those guys. So I'll let you know when that's going to happen. Silly season's there. I've been in camping mode for a long time, but boom, I see you, silly season. There you are. So yeah, patrons, you got a little treat this week, later on this week about all the silly season news that I've been hearing. Thank you to the awesome sponsors, companies that support the NNRC, have choose to advertise on the NNRC. We are going in 2023. We will be looking for other companies, just getting all our sponsorship one-pagers and whatnot done. So we'll be sending those out soon. If you're a company interested in advertising here on the NNRC, let me know, but I'll be sending out all our sponsors letters and whatnot soon. They are Invisible Speed. Invisible Speed, remember, they just dropped their Alexander Hagberg module, so it's all about 10 scale touring car. Just dropped it, or it's going to be dropped here shortly. And also remember, you have until the 31st of October to sign up for the online course, and you can win either a Mayako spec built by Ronald Falk himself, or the choice of a Mayako, or the choice of a Mugen MBX 8R built by Robert Betty himself to his specs. Either you can win either, and then the second person will get whatever's left over. So sign up for the Invisible Speed online course now, and you can win, but it has to be done by the 31st of October. Also, shout out to TZO 200 Tires, TNR Fuels, High Tech RC, Beach RC, Mayako, Techno RC, Lugs Racing Tires, Papa Willie's Traction Tonic, G-Spec RC Tuning. Congratulations to Geoff on his 2 years of opening up G-Spec RC Tuning. He sent me some cables too. I'm going to take some pictures of them and show you. Can't wait to use them. Some Pedal USA. Thank you, Hefty, for coming on and being a part of that. We have some winners of the 2 batteries as well. Thank you, Hefty, for all this time. Racecraft USA. Check out their flock foil. RCGP, Clinic RC, who's launched their new race tech stuff. I saw they have some heads, some compression gauges, maybe something else coming soon as well. House of RC, shout out to David Ronafalk, who's having the Swedish Nationals. He sent me pictures of his race. his track. It looks badass. Good job on all the hard work. Hopefully JQ doesn't come last. Hagberg's going to be there as well. Shout out to Robert Battier. We've been busy organizing the Invisible Speed Tour, Latin America Tour. Shout out to all the people we're working with there. We can't wait to get down there. And also shout out to Jared Tebow for all this hard work. I remember everybody, these companies in the written link, we have written description. We have links to all of these companies. Some companies have coupon codes that save you some money. Some companies have affiliate links that help us out a little bit. Some don't have any links, whatever. But if you do buy something from them, just say, hey, I heard about this on the NNRC. That helps us out a lot. We really appreciate it. So with all of that said, like I said, I've been in a way for 2 weeks. It was a great 2 weeks. RCGP was fun. A little light on entrance, but it was fun and rainy. It was a little bit rainy the first day, and there was no media day because of the rain. So that put a little bit of a downer on the race. But we got the race done. And then I spent some time up in North Carolina with my buddy Mike Hill. Came back down to South Carolina, Myrtle Beach for Masters of Dirt. And did that. Came home, went back up to North Carolina on Monday. Stayed there for a day, and then I came home yesterday. Got home yesterday afternoon. It was good to be home. I missed my family, but I had a blast. And I'm going to talk all about that with Brent and Lucas. But today we're going to talk to Hefty about all this on-road stuff. Also, announcement. I'm very happy to say that I'll be going to the Florida Carpet Championships the weekend before Thanksgiving in Florida at Beachline Raceway. Daniel Chavez and TJ Bradley had talked to me at the Worlds, but then Daniel saw that Danny Paz and I were working together at Masters of Dirt, hit me up and says he wants me there. So tickets bought. I'll be at Florida Carpet Champs. I can't wait. I get to see Mikhail Orlowski and Miko Widemar, who I got to meet this past weekend, race on carpet. Cannot wait. Had a blast. Get to see all these stock guys. I'm geeking out. But with that said, I'm not going to hold you guys up too long. Here's myself and Hefty. We go into talking about 10 scale on-road stuff. I think from now on, you're going to see Hefty on the podcast whenever it's anything on-road. I know he doesn't do nitro, but you know, he can contribute. But when it comes to 10 scale on-road, he's the guy. I'm glad to have him on. Thank you for your time, Hefty. Thank you all for the support. It's been an awesome year. It's not over. I still got a lot of traveling left to do, and I couldn't have done that without you guys. So remember, hit that sub button on the YouTube channel, hit that notification button as well, hit the like or dislike button, leave a comment. If you're listening to us on a audio platform, please hit that like button or leave a review. I think we're pretty much on all podcast platforms. So just leave a review. It helps us out. Let's go on to Hefty and Lefty talking about on-road racing. All right, what's up, Hefty? You've been busy. I've been busy. You've been racing.
Traveling,
I've been going to races. Yes. It's Thursday. We're just sitting off recording. I was talking to you about the on-road worlds. Nationals and what you've been doing. And you said something like, oh, I need to have a rant against Raw. And I'm always down for a rant against Raw. So what's up? You went to while I was at RCGP, you was at the actual on-road paved nationals that were held in Valkyria RC Raceway in Florida. What part of Florida was it in?
So this is, it's about an hour's drive from the Orlando airport. So Orlando's almost central. So you go a little south and you go towards the eastern coast. And, sleepy little town, although there's a lot of traffic Monday through Friday. It seems like when you're trying to go to the track, thankfully we're going in the opposite direction of the traffic. And this is a really nice facility. It's on the grounds of a small regional airport. So at about 7 a.m., you hear like a bunch of little planes taking off out of the airport. And you have some interesting like weather scenarios because it's Florida, and at nighttime in Florida, you might need your windshield wipers, not because it's raining, but just because the humidity is like so high. And so, you have this weird kind of dew in the middle of the day, in the mornings and at night. But so, Valkyria, they, the guy who's sort of like the head there, his name is Joe DePinto. He's I think he's a prior NYC firefighter from 9/11 days back then. And so he's been living down in Florida for I don't know how long. But this facility held the 2016 Roar On-Road Paved Nationals. And, since then, they've done a fair amount of upgrades to the facility. The biggest thing you could see, this picture here, is showing the end of the straightaway and this very hard corner, kind of, especially when the wind is pushing you down the straightaway. And the curbs all have, I would say, a decent amount of banking or incline on them. Previously, that was just painted, and there used to be kind of some big tires out there and dots and stuff like that. So they've definitely improved the track throughout the last few years, which is nice to see. And this track, it's a ribbon track, so it has one layout and only one layout.
Okay.
But the funny part about this place is it's just a hard track, dude. And because honestly, even though they prep it and they do what they refer to as a consistent way of prepping it, and
explain that for us real quick, please.
The guy has a few step process. I know within it is pancake syrup, and also I don't know if it's Lysol. It's not Lysol. It's something else to keep the bugs down. I forget the name of it, but because if you just put sugar in Florida, you got bees all day.
Okay.
So you have to do other things to counteract the sugar so that the insects don't show up. And, he's got his big galoshes on, does the track, he takes his pride in prepping the track. But the funny part about this surface is it might be one of the lowest grip asphalt tracks in the country.
Really?
Yeah. It gets beat down by the sun. And so as compared to the track I race at in Seattle now, we don't spray anything on that track in Seattle, and it has more grip than this place.
So is he prepping this every day or just prior to the event?
Just prior to the event, and
Okay.
He only prepped it twice. It rained one morning, and so he prepped it after the rain.
Mm-hmm.
And the track felt actually really good after the rain. I know my car was better after it. It felt like, but
you guys using foam or
no?
rubber?
These are rubber tires.
Okay,
and I don't have any here because I basically took all those tires and I threw them the fuck out. I didn't want to deal with them anymore.
Okay, so we have some. We have some tire controversy. It sounds like
there's always tire controversy. About a month or month and a half before this event, me and some of my teammates, Craig Xavier, who won the 2022 stock national championship, and Sam Isaacs, who won the modified national championship, we flew out there to the event. And unfortunately, we were there and it rained for 2 days. We got maybe 6 hours of track time. But the one thing that was kind of an eye opener to me was just how the tires were relatively inconsistent. And so this is actually a picture of my pit. And in the middle of the pit, I had this tire contraption, which I call the Mine 1000. And I was running tires on that just to try to break in the inserts, to try to make them behave better on the track. And I did have one set that was bad. The set I ran for Q3 of mod touring, but in general, the last time I was there, I had 3 or 4 sets that were bad.
Okay.
So, substantially better this time around than it was last time. And, but yeah, there's always something that happens at these events, that people kind of struggle with, and either it's the weather or the changing conditions or the tires. In the event, they put a tire quantity limit. So you're only allowed 3 sets of new tires for racing. And then you get an extra set if you make an A main in touring car classes.
It's kind of like that with RCGP.
Mm-hmm.
They cap the tires, and stuff like that. Quick question: so, when did this event start? How long of an event was it?
Yeah, so it was officially underway on Thursday. Roar ran practice, and then they did seeding. But the track was also open Wednesday. You had to pay an additional $10, for the club. and the majority of the people were there on Wednesday. And I got a little like afternoon track action myself on Wednesday, but in general, like I didn't have a lot of vacation time, so I was just like, yep,
right.
Can't really do this.
It's hard when it's not mandatory practice, and I understand why this is done because they do this and offer it as well. I think they should just pay these tracks more money, and you don't have to worry about this, or figure out a way to they make more money. They don't have to do the $10.
It would be good. Yeah, it would be good. But like the other thing too, and it's hard in an outdoor scenario, like where you don't have lights. You could have weather. You have all those issues. But like for an indoor race, there's no reason for these things to take so long.
Right.
And like, it seems really funny to me the how in the few off-road races I've gone to for like carpet off-road and whatever else this past year, they're pretty religious about having like these 5-minute heats. And I don't get it. Like I much rather people get like 2-3 minutes on the track, because whatever you got in 1 or 2 minutes ain't going to get any better by the 5-minute mark. All right.
It's just normal and off-road, just normal 5-minute runs.
Yeah, but it makes no sense to me. So like in on-road here, they usually put on like a 3-minute clock. And if the line gets long, they make it a 2-minute clock, just so drivers cycle on and off the track.
Right.
Because of that, I can go up and down, up and down, up and down, change things, try things, really salvage a car. And then in off-road, like I was the only moron who was like showing up. I'd like throw 2 cars down and then, just switch it to my radio and drive 2 cars in 5 minutes, because otherwise, like, I don't know what you're doing, so that doesn't make any sense to me. But, the other thing for whatever reason, I don't get it. Roar touring car racing is 6 minutes long. They don't do that in off-road. It's 5 minutes.
No, I don't understand that either. Why is it longer?
It makes no sense.
For the class that probably drains batteries more.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't understand
so in general, like we could talk ad nauseam about like what goes wrong at these events. And so, like the tracks themselves, they don't even want to bid on these events.
I agree.
Because they don't make money. They just get a bunch of black eyes. They got a bunch of like people that go to the race that right now in the current generation aren't really helping. And, it's not worth it for them. It's not worth the headache.
I agree.
You don't make the money. It's crazy. So like,
it's a lot of work.
That has to change.
It does. It does. Most definitely.
And thankfully, one of the guys who's in one of these pictures later on, my fellow racer, Clayton Young, he wants to help change that. All right. So we'll get to promoting Clayton a little bit later again. But because I don't even know who's on the ballot yet. So we'll all find out November 1 who is on the Roar president election ballot. All right.
All right.
If you stop there, that the gentleman on the left standing, that's Michael Bruce of Michael's Hobbies, or Michael's RC
right
Hobbies. Yep. And he's talking, I think, with Mike G in the one-up hat. And if you go to the next picture, Michael's RC had his he brought a big inventory out there, had 1 or 2 employees helping, sell stuff.
I think Trent works for this hobby shop. He's in Orlando, right?
Somewhere in Florida. I don't know where. I haven't been to the store. He's got a big team of people. Like he's got at least 10 plus people there. Okay. Michael Bruce used to work at Superior.
I remember Hobbies, Superior,
which then kind of like folded and then is now what Beachline is. So Robbie Michaels is Beachline. Robbie Michaels was Superior.
Gotcha.
And I don't know what happened, but whatever. So, Michael Bruce is now doing his own thing. He's been doing it for a bunch of years now, and he does a good job. Moves a lot of product. I don't know if he's making a lot of money off of it. I hope him the best. He's got 10 people on staff, so he's got to be doing well. Mm-hmm. There's not many businesses that have 10 people and they don't need 10 people. Like I would love to have 10 people. You would love to have 10 people.
I just want one right now.
Yeah. But how do you afford 10 people? That's a whole other question.
Yes.
All right? So, but anyway, just going back to like the event, the challenge for folks who've never been to a Roar race, the Roar sends what they call the race management team, RMT, out to the event. And the RMT are paid some daily rate. It's not like they're getting millions of dollars or anything like that. Maybe it's like $220, $250, something like that a day. But it's better than nothing. And everyone who goes out there, should have a role. And so you'll see that there's some folks in like the Roar clothing. One or two people were just like helpers provided by the track. They also had a race announcer, which they used their normal race announcer out here. His name's a gentleman by the name of Chris Crowder. He's a former track owner. He does a lot of announcing in the on-road scene within Florida. He's one of the race announcers at the Snowbird Nationals that happens in January and February in Kissimmee, which is the next town over in Orlando. And so, so it's like typical people you'd imagine to see in Florida, plus the RMT team that showed up. But, Chris is effectively acting as a member of the RMT team.
Okay.
And, going to a Roar race is challenging. And, for folks who haven't gone, you have to do, body tech. And for touring car, they have this box. And this box gives me nightmares, bro. It's like you put the car in, it has this like little thing that you push it up so you get it on the chassis off the wheels. And then it has this big metal bar that comes across, and it needs to dimple your roof to kind of like show that it's of the right height. Yeah. But the funny thing is we now have all these cab forward bodies that the box doesn't work really anymore. And then once you make that height, then you have to make the wing height. So the wing has to be level or lower. And then it has like a dimensional measurement on the wing, which also is a giant nightmare. And then there's like a back height that they do. And then there's a distance between the wing and the bumper at the back. It's a lot of measurements and a lot of nightmares. And so
is this all operated by hand? Or?
Oh yeah. Yeah. And so I don't think there's a picture of the box in the thing, but like the stuff is big, it's heavy. They mail it to the different events. I really just wish someday that they would lose that box and we could carry on. And it's only touring car that gets put into it. Like these GT12 cars, F1 cars, all this other stuff. USGT, they don't go in the box. So anyway, because they all have different rules, and it's not really a national championship category at that time.
Right, gotcha. I understand that.
And so, but like, in addition to fitting in the box, the body already has to be approved on the Roar list. And if you look at the Roar list of approved bodies, it is abysmal. There's hardly any body that's approved. The most recent Montec bodies, the last 2 or 3, all failed. Although they're EFRA and
IFMAR
approved. And then the latest Protoform body, it failed. Although it's EFRA, I think it's EFRA and IFMAR approved. I honestly don't know.
What happens when that happens to a company if they can't do this? Do they just keep those bodies for EFRA and IFMAR events and sell them anyway?
Yeah, pretty much. And like also the more popular, like one of the most popular body brands right now is Extreme Aerodynamics. And they have the Twister Speciale. Those aren't approved for Roar. So basically the majority of the things that racers run globally aren't approved.
Oh, well done.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. And so
good stuff.
Yeah. So you have that. And then you have to have your motor approved. So you'd have to do a motor tear down, and they check the rotor. They check the stator, they check the resistance, all this stuff. You have to even get a sticker on your battery. Is it approved or not? And, there was multiple occurrences of things getting approved that weren't on the list. I found a Montec body and I found a Protoform body, both not approved, with stickers. I told the racers, hey, you're going to get in trouble. I told Jeff Parker, who is the race director, that it shouldn't have been stickered. And I also emailed Roar administrator and Roar president of the mistakes getting made at the event.
Chuck Kleinhagen?
Just president at Roar, nameless president at Roar. So anyway, that's kind of like in the follies of going through the event. But no one wants to hear about all that griping. What do we want to talk about? We want to talk about the racing action.
Yes. How was that? So you had some
the
of the
racing
best
action
races?
is always fire. All right.
Okay.
It's always good. The format, just so folks know, it's qual points, best 2 of 4. Okay. And so we'll get back to why that's important later. Okay. And because there's always some controversy. All right. So anyway, like the 3 championship classes are stock touring, which is 21.5, super stock touring, which is 17.5, and mod touring. There were also a handful of other classes. I didn't race any of them, but there was F1, there was GT12 with foam tires, there was USGT, and I think that's it. There might have been a VTA heat. I don't know. All right, I wasn't paying that much attention. If I was marshaling the class, then I would see it. All right. I chose to run mod touring and super stock touring. That's a Bullfrog right there, a local from Florida, big proponent of the GT12 class down there, and an avid F1 racer.
Great beard.
Yeah, great beard, exactly. And there's a lot of characters down there. Like when I go to Florida and I go to one of these Florida races, it's like every time I'm there, it's like half of New York is there. And so there was VTA. Yes, I thought so, but I didn't remember. Anyway, in general, like if you just pay attention to those 3 classes, the 3 going for the titles, the subtle undertone, when everything was said and done, I can tell you the winners came from one location,
Northeast,
and more particularly Maryland. So these are the guys that run at 180 Raceway, which has been sponsored by Awesomatics USA for the good part of at least 5+ years. Okay. And so the gentleman who took over this facility, his name is Casey Young. Casey's an old school racer, great guy, and he's keeping the dream alive for on-road in Maryland. The facility is formerly known as Middle River Hobbies. There was a family that used to run it. They did a good job. They had a nice hobby store, and then I think just life got in the way. Someone got sick, other things happened. It went through 1 or 2 other hands, and then finally Casey resurrected it. It's fantastic. It's a small little facility. I could promote a race they are having in December, but it's already sold out. The reality is this place breeds champions. And so
it seems to be, because who's from her? Let's look at it. It's Sam Isaacs from that area.
Yep. So the three national championship winners, Sam Isaacs, Mike G, and Craig Xavier, all run at 180 Raceway. And there's a list of people who also run at 180 Raceway. So Robbie Dodge, he's a very fast guy. This past weekend, there's a guy on my team who beat me in 12 scale racing, Fabio Evangelista. Like Fabio, whose first name is Fabio. He's got a great name. Anyway,
isn't he?
And
doesn't he?
He crushes it down in at 180. Clayton Young, hopefully our future world president. He used to be a 180 regular. He recently moved to Virginia, and now he races out of Coastal RC. We have a few other guys who've been up and coming recently in the Awesomatics team. There's a guy who's getting much faster. His name is Jeff Rowland. He's at a 180 Raceway. And, in general, like if you want to race with the best, show up to run 180 Raceway and just get your beat downs, because like it's ridiculous. It's a small little track. You got to be inch perfect. And if you're not, they'll be ruthless.
Really?
When you're not. Yeah. It's kind of great. I love it. I always enjoy going there. I'm not going to be able to make their race this year because, again, no vacation time. But I hope to show up there next year. There's Clayton Young, hopefully our future world president.
He looks like he's not having a good day.
Yeah. Well,
I'm over this.
this was Clayton's first real on-road asphalt race all year.
Okay.
He had only run at 2 Hobby Town events prior to this, so he honestly did pretty good. He only ran stock touring. He qualified 4th in the A main, and he finished 6th. And the only reason he finished so far down the field was he had some run-ins during the race where there was people who should have been called stop and goes, and they weren't enforced. And
who was doing the refereeing?
It was Jeff Parker.
Okay. Continue.
Anyway, so yeah, in touring car, yeah, it's fine. In touring car, like let's stop right there. So go back one. So that car, that's one of my. Oh, I'm sorry, that's Al Sedano's body. I thought that was Mike G's body. It would be good if we could find Mike G's body, because I think it'd be worthwhile talking about the guy who I don't know where it is in the picture roll. That's definitely not it. But anyway, Mike G, he's like a 30-some-odd-year-old racer out of Maryland. Has been racing forever. Really like a stalwart of the sport, and he especially likes asphalt racing. G is now in the X-Ray team, and his super stock touring car was ridiculous at this event. It was ridiculous. Like, I think if we looked at his time, he probably would have qualified like 4th or 5th in the mod field with that car, and he was just making people look foolish out there.
Really?
Yeah, which is pretty telling. And getting G into like a super stock race is always kind of dangerous. He always does very well, but he especially does really well on asphalt. He also competed in mod touring. He qualified 2nd, and I think he finished 3rd at the event. The folks who I actually thought would be a bit more dangerous at the event, where they have really 2 fast locals in mod touring, Felix Law, who runs an express car, and Dave Vera, who runs an Infinity car. I think Felix qualified 3rd. I don't know where he finished. It wasn't on the podium.
In modified?
In mod touring, yeah.
He finished 6th.
6th, okay. And then Dave Vera, I know he qualified 7th. I don't know where he...
5th. He had a 5, 5, and a 4.
Yeah, so he even raced up, and for some reason or another, Felix like fell back, and the racing was, I would say, pretty close in general. Sam had I think somewhat of a healthy lead in the qualifying stance. Like, he had a good first day of qualifying on Friday. Mike G struggled on Friday, had some issues with some tires. And but in round 3 and 4, put some real good runs in. But then, because you only have so many tires, he was in a deficit in the racing. So I think he only had 1 set of tires going into the A main. And so it's one of these things that, and I wonder what people think. Like, you already spent all this money going to this race. Why don't you just buy like 4 more sets of tires?
Yeah, because you have to give up. Something has to give, especially in this type of racing where tires are okay.
They matter.
Like, really, like, oh yes, tires matter in off-road too, but in this type of racing, the tire consumption is extremely higher, especially on a hot asphalt. We're talking about asphalt compared to dirt. Yeah. So I don't know why that's like that. That's kind of
I don't know either.
Backwards, in my opinion.
You could say it's good because then it gives you strategy games, but at the end of the day, I also think it's difficult because of the strategy games. And so, like, what was actually done was the guy who's 4th on the track right here. He's in the all orange car. He's Chris Adams. He's out of RCCA in Texas. He's the track owner there. Former Roar modified national champion on carpet. And Chris ran, I don't know if he had a new set or not for A1 and A2, but he ran the same set, I know, in those 2 races. And then with his plan on running a new set for A3. And so I think he won A3 after Sam did 2 and out. And because of that, allowed him to catapult himself up to 2nd overall on the podium instead of maybe 3rd, where he could have been otherwise.
He did finish first in the first one. Yeah, I can understand that. These guys have to hold back to save tires. Yeah, maybe they need extra tires. They just need it.
Yeah, and the other thing is, it was a crapshoot at the event. Like for all of the racing tires that I had, I made 1 A main, so I got 1 extra set of tires. So for the 7 sets of tires I had for racing, 1 of them was bad.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is, if you have a set of tires that is bad, and then you're limited to only 3 sets of tires, you're just super fucked now.
They can't replace the tire, or they're like, it's not their problem.
It's not their problem. They don't care.
So when you're saying bad, what do you mean by bad for people that
basically
don't know?
What ends up happening is one of 2 things. Either the car on power wants to spin out in one direction. It's like super loose and it drives like it's tweaked. Or the car won't turn. It depends on which end of the car the bad tire ends up being on. But for the most cases I saw, and for my case in particular, on right-handers, it would just want to just like basically loop out. And it happened to be on my mod car. And, so you're trying to send this rocket ship down, out of corners. And yeah, that didn't really work out so well. But yeah, so, all in all, it's an interesting like case of events. Like, I think if all the tires were perfect, then I don't think it would matter. But the reality is they're not perfect. And I'm not sure what you do about it. So
does this happen at other events as well?
It can. And it seems like more of a trend, like the last few years, like the chemicals have changed within tires. And, I don't know if it's just because, the manufacturer, initially you try some tires and all they had to do was make, 20, 30, 40 sets. Then it gets selected for an event. And now all of a sudden they need to sell 2,000 sets because everyone wants this thing. And, quality just goes down. And it's the worst part is you honestly don't know, is the set good or not until you put it on the track. And even though I had my little tire spinner going on and I, in my mind, it made it better for me, I still had 1 bad set of tires. And, I put my tires on this rotisserie for at least 2 hours each set, just trying to beat them down, break in the insert, make sure the insert was bedded nice into the tire. But, still didn't help in the grand scheme of things. So, and the thing I'll call out is, so in this race right now, we're watching A1 at the back of the race. All right. And I don't mean to, say this in that fashion. There was some controversy both in the tie breaks being done for the 13.5 and the 17.5 and the modified classes. We had scenarios where we had drivers in 13.5, we had 3 guys on 14 points. And then in modified, we had 3 guys on 16 points. And the initial like heat sheets for the mains were done incorrectly. And so the guy who I do this other podcast with, the Mangler, who's right now circulating in 9th. I say circulating because he's not winning. All right. That's called circulating. All right. So anyway, he's circulating in 9th. When the Saturday ended, he was outside of both the touring car super stock and modified A mains. And he just looked like you like killed his cat or something. He was all depressed, distraught. He was like, I'm going to go home, blah, blah, blah. And so we talked him into not going home. So, he went through like this 12-step program of rage, like, why am I slow? I suck, blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, that can't be right. And I should be in this race. So then he started looking at the rules and he started looking at all the things. And there's a raw rule. It's 12.3.6.3 that governs how tie breaks are done. And we found that the tie breaks were done incorrectly. And so, unfortunately, the officials that go to races that should have all the rules didn't know how to do the tiebreak.
This is why you messaged me that day.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And
I was with Nick. I asked Nick, and he gave me the Efra version of that.
Yeah, and so it's just another part of like the confusion and the disappointment, and things could just be so much better. And all we want is for it to be better. And like that's the thing. Like whether it's JQ complaining about Efra, or me complaining about Roar, or everyone else complaining about IFMAR, I think across the board, all we want is this stuff to get better.
Yes,
and,
of course.
I think we're going to get to a tipping point where this does happen. And so get this. Here's the even funnier point. So we had this podcast right as I was about to leave for this event. All right. And I talked about the old people in Roar. All right.
Boy.
So here some guy comes up to me, puts his hand on my shoulder in the pits and says, what do you have against old people? I'm like, who the fuck is this? All right. It happened to be the Roar Region 4 director.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the guy's name. He didn't really introduce me, but he listens to your podcast. So he's going to hear this now. All right. And I can say, so this gentleman, he was there at the event on Thursday.
Was he competing?
No, he wasn't competing. He was just spectating.
Okay.
He wasn't working the event. He wasn't helping the event. He was just popping in saying hi.
Okay.
And what I can say is, if there's a national event in your region, why are you not there? That makes no sense to me.
Ooh.
Like, I don't get that. Now, mind you, I understand people got lives, they got other things going on, blah, blah, blah. But the national event is known about, like, I don't know, at least 6 months ahead of time. Try to find a way to make it happen. And if not, send somebody else. Like, hook it up, So
does he just lives there then?
Yeah, he lives in. Okay. So Roar Region 4 is Florida. All right, because Florida's so big. But I don't know the guy's name. He might have introduced himself. He might not have. I don't really remember. And he's like, so what do you have against old people? I'm like, I really don't have anything against old people. I have problems with people who aren't trying. And he might be doing a great job in the region. And, maybe they hold more regional races in Region 4 than any other Roar region. I don't know. I don't live in that region. And I don't care. All right. I'm at this race. And this is the national event for the class that we try to do well in. That's all it comes down to.
Yeah, I'm not against old people. Of course not. We need it's the old guard that I'm against. You know what I mean? The unwillingness to change. There are older, mature people who want things to change. Yes,
and have the ability to think that this is wrong and we should change something.
Yeah, most definitely. So I don't know who you're talking about either.
I don't know either, but
I'm not against old people.
Funny. Yeah, I thought it was funny to bring this up, and I want to make sure Lefty is not seen as an ageist. All right, he's not against old people. He likes old people. I like old people too. I think they're funny, and they often have a lot of maturity and life experience.
Yes, they do.
But yeah, it is what it is.
So your buddy got in he didn't get in through the rule change, or he did?
No, he did. So
okay.
He was out of both the mod and the super stock race, the Mangler. And he ended up becoming car number 10 in the mod race. And
off the edge of the cliff.
Yeah, exactly. He was on like suicide watch. He wasn't going to cut this way, like where he wants attention. He was going to cut this way.
Yeah, like where you really
everything was going to be for sale. All right. You knew that. Like, I was like, there's going to be an epic sell-off. It's going to be savage. And what I can tell you, so this is my partner in crime on the podcast that I've been doing since 2019. He was there for some of the years. All right. And so that's Track Rats. What we're trying to do is we're trying to get our YouTube subscriber count up to 1,000 people. We have a decent amount on Facebook. But the YouTube numbers are abysmal. When we started talking about this on Tuesday, our numbers were at 68. All right. We're now in the 100 something.
Sweet.
But the goal here is if we can get to 1,000, we're going to have Mangler do a show in his wrestling singlet from 20 plus years ago.
Oh, he was a wrestler.
He was a wrestler, yes. And I've seen pictures of him in this singlet, and I'm telling you, you all want to see it. All right? It's fantastic. Now, I don't have a copy of the pictures, so we're going to hopefully get it in real life. But we need to
your YouTube? Let's pump your YouTube real quick.
It's called RC Track Rats. We don't have a fancy URL for it yet. There's this new thing that YouTube's doing.
The tag.
The tag. So hopefully we'll have a cool tag soon. Right now we just have a bunch of gobbledygook numbers. But RC Track Rats, we need to get to 1,000 so we can see Mangler in a singlet. And I put this in a comment. I too will show singlet solidarity and wear a singlet for a show. It's going to be fire. We're going to break the internet.
He says, I'm going to show solidarity, singlet solidarity. You should, oh my gosh, the Mangler in his wrestling costume. I would love to see this.
Yes,
Track Rats, everybody. Get these guys up to 1,000 subs. It could
that's
happen. That's the first milestone you got to get crossed there.
Now, here is, you're watching GT12. And so let's just talk about, this is the other side of the race. Okay. What I would lovingly call the funster side of the race. Okay.
Okay.
And there's a gentleman, I think his name's Jose Diaz. He's a local in Florida.
Jesus.
Okay. Sorry. Jesus Diaz. And so
Serpent Guy, I think.
Yeah. Serpent Guy.
Yeah, met him. Nice guy.
He won 3 classes. All right. He took down GT12. I think TQ'd and Wind. He took down F1. TQ'd and Wind. And I think he took down VTA with the TQ and Win. I think.
I know who you're talking about. I met him at Mills Pond. Very nice guy. Very enthusiastic
nice guy.
About RC.
All right. I'm not, a spade. He's an older gentleman, but he's a hell of a driver.
Yeah.
Super passionate. Maybe we need someone like him in Roar.
Yes.
That's the sort of thing, I feel like we need. And in this class too, this GT12 class is, so it's 12th scale cars. I don't remember what motor they're running. It's a 1-cell battery and foam tires. He worked these kids over. He put a gap on these people. Look, the guy in second is 8 seconds behind him. He worked these kids over. It was crazy. So he definitely put on a show. He spent a lot of time here. And so congrats to him. And,
well done, Jesus.
I don't know if, people like that get enough
credit.
Yeah, enough credit out there. And then in the USGT class, there was a nice battle. The guy who won is a Nitro guy. I don't know his name off the top of my head anymore.
What was it again?
USGT.
21 USGT. Ashton Brinson.
Yeah, Ashton. Apparently a Nitro guy, Nitro on-road guy, I think. Okay. And then in second was Jeff Vlasic. And then in third was Ivan Dixon. Yeah. And Ivan is the rep for Reds out of Cali.
Okay.
So I don't know if you know him or not.
Reds,
but Reds Motors.
Oh, like Reds Racing Motors, yeah.
Yeah. And so he made the trip from Cali along with Lex Tyler made the trip from Cali. And, it's good to see some people traveling across the country other than just my dumb ass. It's interesting. Especially like California is real funny. Like California could almost be its own country. People just stay in California
and don't leave. Yeah. If right now, it's always been a hot scene, but right now, 8 scale nitro racing in California is insane. Tuesday nights, hot rods, Friday nights at the Dart. Then it's some race somewhere every Saturday.
Yeah.
It's right crazy. Now, it's banging right now. It's so many different tracks. So it's good to see, but they generally tend not to come out of California.
Yeah.
They're like, I ain't got to go to the East Coast. You guys got to come here.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
But they got to go to Baltimore and up there and race with those guys.
All these on-road guys need to go visit Baltimore, hang out. All right. And there's a few really nice on-road tracks in the country. And, is 180 Raceway super nice? No. but is it like super tight competition? Yes.
It's probably like street basketball going to Rutgers.
Dude, it's just like you're on West 4th Street in Manhattan. There's a pickup game there, and people get made at that game.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very similar, and it's pretty interesting. So there's a whole bunch of other nice tracks out there, realistically. And when we talk about like people not putting in for Roar races, the 2023 Roar Carpet On-Road Nationals will be held at Apex Raceway in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Eric Anderson's track, Team EA Motorsports. He was the only person who put in for it. All right. The Asphalt Nationals, paved asphalt, the video we just watched, no one put in for it. The Nitro On-Road Nationals, no one put in for it. So
nobody
it's just like
bothered. Same in off-road.
It's crazy.
We don't know. I don't know. We don't know where the off-road nationals is going to be 8 scale yet. We know there's going to be a Worlds, but we don't know the date. It's sometime September for 10 scale at Action.
At Hobby Authority.
Hobby Action.
Hobby Action in Arizona, right?
Yeah. I keep getting that wrong. So it's all good. So what happened? So this race was over Sunday. Well, how was besides the racing and all that, how was the atmosphere? Because I found that this weekend too, that the 10 scale guys know how to party. So I figured you guys were having some fun.
I don't think we're as crazy as some of those guys. Some of us are a bunch of old men. The two things I will say in that area, there's one place that does like barbecue and smoked wings.
Oh, nice.
That actually Michael Bruce turned us on to back in 2016. It's called Broken Barrel. Okay. We talk about that place. We went there twice. So it's definitely worthwhile going. Also, we would highly recommend going to the local area Hooters.
Okay.
The talent, very good.
Absolutely great. Good.
Anyway,
good.
It was on point. So,
anything else to talk about the racing before we go on to maybe some other stuff, maybe ranting?
All in all, like the racing, I think was good. The officiating of the racing needs some work. And,
was Dave Duncan there from Raw?
Nope. No, Dave could be on the RMT team, but he wasn't.
I don't understand why he isn't. He's the best one.
Could have been on the RMT team, but he wasn't. You can ask these guys why they didn't go. They could choose to sign up for the RMT team, but maybe they don't want to because of the other people that are already signed up for the RMT team.
Right, doesn't Dave live in Florida?
Yeah, both of them do. The reality is, like, I think they don't want to deal with the frustration.
Interesting stuff.
You need to clean house, and then those guys will come back, and they'll help put on good races, and hopefully, people will be happy.
Yeah, they would be, but we need to clean house first. And one of those pictures we saw your good buddy. Mm-hmm. So let's get. I know you're really angry at Raw right now.
I'm not. It's frustrating.
Frustrated. Yeah. I think now you kind of feel like a lot of people kind of feel in the off-road world, because I think the on-road.
I hear there's a manufacturer like series they're trying to build up right now. They're trying to just remove themselves from Raw.
Why not? But the problem will always be
you can't get that IFMAR hookup.
So you need Raw and you need all that type of stuff that they have. Then we can get rid of them. I do not. That's definitely not the answer. I know many people want to do that, but you look at Norca. They did it. They never got that IFMAR recognition, and IFMAR won't recognize it. They'll just stick by their guns, because the president of IFMAR is Jeff Parker. So, all right. So what's the rant about? What besides the officiating? Like, tell me about some of the stuff that just. Once again, so was Jeff Parker on his phone all the time?
Yep.
Yeah. That's
wasn't watching the racing.
Oh man. What are we gonna I don't understand it. What I think what it is just that people don't care enough anymore. And on the off-road side, what do I need it for except to go to a nationals once a year? Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of people besides that nationals, what do we need them for? And that's been the most frustrating thing for people, I think. And that just allows Raw to just never change. They don't have to. They still get that 30, like, okay, if they offer it HBO National, oh yeah, open it up, 10 minutes, it's sold out.
Mm-hmm.
We make our $30 per person. We make our money off. We make our nut off this. Then the same thing, because that's the biggest race, the biggest of all the races.
Yeah.
Then they go and get their money from the other ones, and the tracks are left to struggle.
Yep.
Tracks can't make any money off than that. That's exactly why there's no tracks bidding on it. I heard that the Nationals might be at LCRC next year
again,
and they just had it in 2021. But it's the only track that I think can make money at the race
because they got enough things going on. Correct.
Well, they know how to do it. And they know it's going to sell out, and they make money. They have to make money off of everything. Mm-hmm. So, and they do all the fucking work.
Yeah, it's crazy. Work. Yeah, and especially if you think about these places where the facility really matters. It's not just do you have a flat floor and are the boards clean. And, does the layout not suck? It's you actually need to prep a track. You need to water the track. You need to do all this other stuff. That's a lot of work.
It is. Yeah. And they just come in with their stuff and act like bosses and then go home. Yeah. Then the track is left to deal with all the bullshit. Yep.
And so, I think, in some of the car rides I had with Clayton, he was thankfully driving me around. He even took me to the airport on Sunday. We talked about this stuff, and we talked about what can you do to change things. And we need to get Clayton on the show.
Yes, we do.
But the bigger things that I think is the rules need to help change. There needs to be financial transparency. Mm-hmm. That's going to be a fun topic.
Well, I already mentioned that we haven't seen any public records for the last couple of years or anything.
And I think the real question is if you think about what does it take to run an event? All right. Well, let's say you get 4 people, although this race didn't have 4 people. You got 4 people out there for 4 days. So that's $4,000. Mm-hmm. Okay. There's that. You have some trophies. And then you have all the tech equipment and computers that you send there and back and forth. I think there's some fun numbers out there. If you do the math, things don't start adding up. And so, why is it costs thousands of dollars to ship stuff to the event? Shipping ain't thousands of dollars.
Got you. See where you go with this.
So there's going to have to be some things that change. And but the reality is people need to get mad. And you know what? You need to go rock the vote. That's what you need to do. Rock the vote.
Yeah, we try on this, but people, it's just, we preach it. And I think people get tired of me saying it, but it's true. This is the utter truth. If people want change, if it has to be done collectively, and show that these guys need to be because I always say, if you fix Raw, you fix IFMAR, so.
And the reality is we know enough people. We all have friends in Europe. Mm-hmm. You can, we need to get Roar and EFRA working together. And then the reality is if we have one set of rules, then it's going to be real simple. And if you show up to an event, we could just be hey, this is, this is a level 5 rule event. And that means you're going to have this box of hell for your wings and this, that, whatever else. And it'll just be all the same rules.
Right. And then should it be different rules?
Yeah. And then maybe your local club race. Oh, that's level 1 rules. What does that mean? Ride height, voltage, blinky or something. Try to not have people just blatantly cheating. All right. And, but we need to get the consistency out there and the transparency. And, I think we can make some big strides. So
I think so. We need to get a group of people collectively. Yeah. We need to get behind somebody.
Yep. And the other thing I'll say, and, you might be Hefty, you're very passionate. Maybe you should be involved in it. I don't think I should. Because you might have, people might say, well, you're doing it for the wrong reason.
Right. Because you're a manufacturer or you're selling
JQ
stuff.
should not be in Raw.
I agree.
All right.
He can never be Raw, but he shouldn't.
I'm sorry, not EFRA or whatever it is. So there's people you need to find folks who are passionate about it and who, most of these positions are not paid and they just want to do it to make it better. And that takes a special sort of person. And in America, that person right now is, in my opinion, Clayton Young. You may not like Clayton. He might have peeled you at a race before. You might have had an argument with Clayton. You might think Clayton's an idiot. I don't necessarily think he's an idiot, but the reality is you might have beef with somebody, etc. But the thing is, the guy will listen. He will, you can change his opinion, and ultimately he tries, and that's all you really have to ask for. All right, you need someone who wants to get in there, try, and make some change. So, I
agree. We need to just get him. I need to just get him on the podcast.
Yep,
that's
you
it.
do. That's it.
Stop beating
so
around.
No more Hefty. You need Clayton.
Yeah, but we like Hefty.
That's Hefty. Fine. You can like.
You're
me.
actually
like
calm.
Too.
I thought you was gonna go a little bit more savage today.
Oh, I already dropped a few F-bombs. I tried.
Yeah, that's nothing. JQ's dropped way more than that.
Oh, okay. Well then, fuck, motherfucker, fuck.
Okay,
fuck.
Okay. Beep. All right. Well, it sounds like it was a great, other than the manufacturers and the, I watched some of the racing.
Was really good. And the only thing I think is a little weird, and, I can't wait to see what the comments are, is, what do people think about like the tire strategy and the tire games? Like, is that a worthwhile part of a race? Or, could it just be that, and like, there was a weird effect of this, I think, at the IFMAR Worlds, like some poor guy, he broke out of a race where they were on new, and he didn't do enough laps on new. And so he wanted to use that set of tires for his second run, and they didn't let him. And that was fucked up too, because so now he has to run third run tires instead of second run tires. And you might as well just not even race at all. So, there has to be you shouldn't be showing up to the event and having to figure this stuff out. And all the stuff kind of needs to be understood. It needs to not be written in a way that is just hard for people to get. That's the other thing. Just make it a little more simple. You could even set up in such a way where if you're the guy setting up the racing, let's make it real simple. All you have to do is print these 3 pages. And then you just read these 3 pages and it has everything you need to know. That's it. And you're the nerd doing tech. Great. Here's these 12 pages, whatever. It's just but we got to make it simpler. We got to make it easy for people to understand. We have to have rules get updated. And, hopefully we can make all that stuff happen. But
you just got to keep beating the drum and getting the right people in position. That's it.
Yeah.
If anything I've learned over the last 5 years, be consistent. Don't change.
Yeah.
Be passionate. That's what I told a guy. Consistency, confidence, passion.
Mm-hmm.
That's what
passion's key.
Yes.
And, you have to have fun. If you're not having fun, don't be here. All right. Though one other thing we were talking about in the car ride, and I on the other podcast with the Mangler, I gave a shout out to a guy, and I didn't give him a hard time at the event because he wasn't working at the event. This guy, he's involved in Roar. I don't know what the hell his real title is. His name's Rob King. He's also the guy behind the USVTA and the USGT rule set. And it was great to see Rob at the event racing. Rob was racing Formula One.
Okay.
All right. He likes Formula One. Great. He qualified 4th or 5th or 6th. I don't know, something. He's out there running a toy car. All right. Oh, I'm sorry. A race car.
Scale Motorsports.
Okay. Scale Motorsports. Sorry.
In that case, it's definitely Scale Motorsports because it looks like a Formula One car.
Yeah. Well, it wants to be. Anyway. But this is one of the other things that I think is important, that the racers who are involved in Roar need to have relevance. The guy is there racing at a national event, the best event they can put on. He's there racing it. Well, he's racing a Funster class. Okay. But at least he's at the event. All right. When have these other people been at these events? When have they raced? I think for you to be in Roar, you got to be racing. For you to be in RMT, you got to be racing. You got to race that level of event that you're working at.
Well, not only that, you need to kind of do that so you enjoy it still. If that's the one thing I have missed is racing because I stopped. No, we don't.
I don't know how you do that.
Well, I'm thinking of doing some GT racing. Okay. That's the only one they're doing on in Santo Domingo. I might go down there and do that in the following year. But I agree with you. I wanted to talk about a few things before we kind of closed off on this, because I was going to make this a part of a podcast, but I think it has to be a whole podcast because it's Onward and trying to cross over that genre. But a couple of things I wanted to talk about was Ronald Fox having a race this weekend. So he's having the Swedish Viking? Nationals, I believe it's called. He sent me this picture of his track.
It's a very nice track.
Yes.
Are they going to be serving Swedish meatballs at this race?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. But definitely some Swedish type of food. Maybe that petried fish that you get in a can. I don't know. No, probably just normal food. But he was super proud of this. It's actually
Looks
pretty
great.
big. Yeah, I got the green.
Nice infield, little felt action. Yeah.
Yes. So he has Reinhardt's coming, Hagberg's coming.
Great.
Willick.
Okay.
JQ, not that matters. Pecco is going. So he's got a nice little race going on. And he was, he shows me all his banner placement and he goes, where's the NNRC banner? I was like, I know, I'm slacking. I need to have one. So I need to.
Do you not have a banner guy in Europe? You need one?
No, I don't. But if you have one, I don't even have a banner guy in America. So
we can get you a banner guy in America, and then collectively the people here on the podcast can help you get a banner guy in Europe. So.
Yes, I would like to get some banners. I just bought some back home from my trip. So I wanted to touch on something real quick. Also, couple of things. Invisible Speed online course with Alexander Hagberg has dropped. Ooh. So this is for you, Hefty.
Oh, is it for me?
You should buy this.
Oh, I should?
He said you should buy it and try it out.
Okay. Do I need to have a car with shocks? Is that a requirement?
I mean, it's supposed to be about just 10 scale online, 10 scale touring car.
Okay.
So he's dropped the online course of that. All the video is done by Hagberg. So it's explained by him and all that stuff. And JQ's put it all together.
He does a great job with those videos.
Well, this is a module of the Invisible Speed online course. So this is the beautiful thing about this course is that it grows. So he can have a 10 scale online touring car. Then that can, that's the online section that goes there.
Maybe what we should do is make an Invisible Speed course on 12 scales. And, we could help people out with that, because the 12 scale Worlds is coming to Beachline in early November 2023, and this car right now at the moment, this is one of these Automatics 812 cars. Just look at the top tippity top all these A mains.
Well, he's running an Automatics car too. He says his car is really good, and his goal is not to come last.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he doesn't. If he does, we can make fun of him. It'll be great.
Yes, all the time. But
dead fucking last. Hopefully he does.
Also, I just have to keep promo Invisible Speed. If you buy the course prior to the end of the month, so you have a few days.
Okay.
You can also be put in a competition to win either a Mayako MX-8 built to David Ronnefalk specs. Or,
does that include one of those motors that you can't get?
No, that are supposed to be for sale very soon. Don't worry, they sounded extra saucy at RCGP. And also, or you can win an MBXR spec built by Robert Badier. So you can win either of those, and actually 2 people will win. So the first person to win will get the pick of either, and then the person who gets second place will get whatever's left.
Whatever's the leftovers. Yeah,
yes,
nice.
They get this. I mean, there's some pretty good leftovers if you ask me.
Yeah.
So that competition is going on to the 31st of October. Sign up for the online course. They just dropped the Alexander Hagberg course module as well for all you 10 scale guys. So get out there. It's great.
What's the difference between the basic course and the full course?
I think the full course comes like with Discord server and all this type of stuff. Oh, maybe all the modules as well. Okay. So the basic course is basic.
Yeah, like camber, caster. Failing.
It's still a work in progress. He hasn't finished everything.
Okay.
So he's got all the video. It's just about editing it all up and putting it together. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't know, JQ, how he finds time to do all that stuff, but he does. And
yeah, I don't know, but those courses look really cool.
Yes, we'd like to definitely get more people doing it, and then of course we're going to be doing the camps here starting in South America. Also, I'm recording this. I'm going to record Masters of Dirt wrap up with Brent and Lucas. But I went to this race, and I just have to say, because I'm probably going to release this on a separate, like probably today, and just release it separately. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like, I went to this race. You got to see some stock racing, right? Yes. And I think the track was really badass too, by the way. Like, it had a jump that separated stock and mod, but I got to see these young stock guys run, and oh my God, these cars are extremely fast. Mm-hmm. Like some are. Yes. Okay. So I did see that. So I'm going to tell that story real quick. But I enjoyed the race. I enjoyed the format. I enjoyed the 10-minute mains. The atmosphere of the race was really great. I don't know how they did 10-minute mains in stock. The cars must have slowed down. They did. Some people had some fade, but those guys, the top guys didn't. They seemed to do well. I met all these young stock guys, or not younger, stock racers, and they knew me. A lot of them knew me, and I was excited about that. But I'm geeking out on it. I'm converted. I like it. I'm going to say it. There you go. I like stock, and I have. Well, I think the reality is, like, mod and off-road is just so fast. Mm-hmm. And so, most people can run a stock car and go faster than they can in mod. Well, I mean, Schimel was going to qualify like 7th in the A main. Mm-hmm. Which is pretty good. Well, and his car was so good. Like, his car was so fast. So I did see, and he was good. But I was like, who's this red and blue car? This doesn't look like it has any power. Mm-hmm. Then when I realized who it was, and then it still didn't click what you said about him on the previous podcast. I did see the lack of power in Templeman's car, but he still drove really well. If we could get that guy a motor, he would be multi-time national champion. Hey, I thoroughly enjoyed it. This now gives me a lot more content to. I could go. I want to interview these young guys. I want to. They have, they have personalities. It's a whole level of competition. See, I've been looking at stock as a intermediate sportsman type of class. Yeah, you're calling it the filler class, the funster stuff, right? But it's not. It's a separate class. I understand why you can run stock and mod. I understand 100%. No, it's not a problem for me. Yeah. So, and we understand, like, coming over from 8 scale. Mm-hmm. Where all the cars are the same, and it's really just about, like, either skill or motivation or sandbaggery as to which grouping you get up in, right? And you definitely see a lot of guys. There's a few that are just sandbagging the crap out of it. Right. I'm not going to name names because honestly, I don't go to 8 scale races, but I can tell you. No, but it's not about skill. It's not about sponsorship. It's a class. It's like Truggy or Eat Buggy or anything else. It's just like that. And now that I look at it like that, I don't like the name stock, so I'm going to be fighting to change that. I'm sure that's going to come with resistance. Change. I know. Yeah. But I enjoyed it. These young guys, they're just as competitive as and it's just so much competition. Yeah. So these are like the young superstars of stock, and I thank them for allowing me in their world. And in case people didn't know, I'm off to Florida Carpet Championships too in 2 weeks' time. So I'm happy about that. Thank you to Daniel and TJ. They contacted me. And Danny, I worked with Danny. And I got to say thanks to Brent for getting me there. And I had a blast. If you ever want to go to a nice dirt or clay race, and it's going to be fun, really fun, go to Masters of Dirt next year. Mm-hmm. Really, and that facility, they have a nice outdoor track too, right? Well, not on the facility, but they have separate. That's where we had the RCGP. Yeah. So it's Badlands. Actually, you could race outdoor 10 scale there. Mm-hmm. It's not that big. So how far is it away from the 20 minutes? Okay, that's not that bad. So it's not that bad. So it's right there, and it's a nice facility. It's got good clay and all that stuff. So it was great. The track was Lucas done a really good job. Like, just there's jumping up the steps. Oh man, Aiden Horn in the 4-wheel drive man was just the only one who would jump up these steps and land. And like was that on that was from the driver's stand perspective? That was on the left hand side. Yes. right left-hand corner, you went up and then came down. So Aiden was the only person in full drive that was jumping in the main and every lap, clearing it up to the top.
Yeah.
And he overtook people and made up a lot of time there.
He probably had some big stink, huh?
That young man is awesome. He is blossoming like a caterpillar to a butterfly.
Okay.
Yes. But his personality is awesome.
Yeah.
His not
his stuff at the Worlds was fantastic.
Right. Well,
you're asking him, how did he do? I sucked. Whatever. He was blatant about it. It was great.
Yeah, he's at RCGP. He's awesome, and he's awesome. So I had a good time. We're gonna do a whole recap with that with Brent and Lucas. But I wanted to talk to you about On-Road, and we've been talking. Oh, and I think we actually have some winners of the 2 batteries. So
yeah.
I think so. I finally think we have some winners. I'm going to have to go find them and then contact them.
Yeah, let's send it.
And don't forget, guys, this is some Pedal USA batteries. Check them out. Go check them out, sompedalusa.com. Check them out. Get your batteries. There we go. No shameless plug because you're a sponsor of this event. You're an advertiser. Look at all that sexiness.
Yeah. And, it powers national champions. It powers IFMAR world champions. It powers EFRA champions. They power ETS champions. It
just power champions.
You wonder where everyone else buys their batteries? Cut out the middleman.
There you go. Hefty, it's been a good chat. I guess we'll get back together. I think in the new year, you're going to be on anytime there's any 10 scale On-Road stuff and
whatever you want to do, man. We're going to find a way to hook it up. And,
people enjoy you having you on her.
That's great. I'm happy to talk some shit, and it's a good time. And we'll my first big race of the year is going to be Snowbird Nationals down in Florida.
So we're definitely going to need you on after that.
Yeah, and it should be good because last year the X-Ray team came in and whooped the ass, and we're not having that this year. So it should be it should be a really good race this year. Like that race and the ass whooping we got has motivated me to just start running touring car again, because I've just been working on these little 12 scales because I really like 12 scale. And so we're going to make sure, none of that silliness happens this year. So
Sweet. All right, Hefty. Well, thank you for your time. Thank you for everything. I appreciate it. It was a great chat as usual. And you have a good day, man.
All right. Thanks, Lefty. Be good. Later.
Cool. And that's our podcast for today. Thank you to Hefty for all his time. I greatly appreciate you coming on and talking on-road with me. You're making me appreciate the on-road class. Just like I learned at 10 scale this past weekend. This stuff's fun. I love it. I want to get to a big on-road race at some point. Congratulations to everybody that podiumed and done well. Good to see. Good luck to everybody attending Runner Folks race this weekend. I hope it's a good race. I hope to get some video. Check it out. He said he's going to send me some video. Good luck, Joseph. I hope you do well as well. But Pecco should beat you. And also, you know what? I forgot to say this, but happy birthday to our good buddy, Arrogant Max. Today, as I'm recording, it's his birthday. He went 22 years old. If you remember, he's going to be on next week. Max is still young. He's only 22. I know he seems like he's a lot older. He definitely thinks he's a lot older. But yeah, happy birthday to you, little buddy. You've been one of my best friends. It's good to know you. Even, you're like a little brother to me. I hope you enjoy your day. And I look forward to catching up with you next week. Happy birthday, Arrogant One. Happy birthday, Barry Baker's son, Max Moore. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys in the on-road world like what we're doing. We're dabbling. We're trying to be more eclectic with the podcast here. We greatly appreciate any support you guys come by. Remember, hit that sub, that notification button, that like button on YouTube. Leave a comment, dislike button, whatever you want to do. If you listen to us on the audio side of things, leave a review, share. We need all of that. Help us. Watch our socials. Join our TikTok. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook. Ooh, we got 5,000 likes on the Facebook finally. That's great. Subs on the YouTube channels up. We're like 3,200. Let's try and get 4,000 by the end of the year, please. Everything's good. I'm excited. I'm happy to be back. I got lots to talk about. It's going to be a lot of podcasts coming, so be aware. And don't forget, Florida Carpet Championship is coming up for me. So looking forward to that. Remember, if you're a company looking to support or advertise in the podcast, hit me up. We're going to have our sponsor stuff out shortly, another week or so before I leave. With that said, also don't remember the Invisible Speed deal. Invisible Speed and the online course, you can buy that and you'll have a chance to win either a Mayako MX-8 built by David Ronnefalk or a MBX-4 built by Robert Battier. So thank you to all the sponsors. Without them, we can't do this. Thank you to all of the NNRC squad around the world. Without you guys, we can't do this. Keep sharing. It's great to meet new people and make new friends in RC. Shout out to the patrons of the RC of the NNRC. You guys get the silly season speculation podcast, I'm going to call it. And of course, thank you to these awesome companies that are InvisibleSpeed.net, TZO 200 Tires, TNR Fuels, High Tech RC, Powering Champions, Mayako, the hashtag Mayako movement, Techno RC, Lugs Racing Tires, Papa Willie's Traction Tonic for all your traction needs, G-Spec RC Tuning, Sampadal USA, thank you Hefty, Racecraft USA, Clinic RC, RCGP, House of RC. Shout out to Ronnefalk. Track looks badass. Shout out to Thibaut, Hagberg, and Robert Battier. Thank you guys for all your support. Nitro is the glory. E-Buggy pays the bill. 10 scale pays for the skills. And 10 scale onward's pretty badass too. With that said, Lefty out.